Hello there, you awakening wonders. It would be impossible for me to love you any more than I do right now. You are the very vision of perfection, if you ask me. We're going to be talking about Trump ignoring the Republican debates. He's going to talk to Tucker instead, and we've got some exclusive news about Rumble. But first of all, let's have a look at that moment where Trump got so hot and sweaty on the telly that he knew that it will be picked up by mainstream media. And before we show you that, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, we will be exclusively on Rumble in just 15 minutes because we're going to speak so freely about Moderna and all manner of other matters. Guys, go full screen on this because we've got a little audio issue in the studio that we need to resolve with you. Let's have a look at Trump. Tell me first, is he sweating profusely and does he correctly predict what the mainstream media's reaction will be? Let's go with this clip.
And by the way, I want to say officially for the press, it's about 110 degrees in this room. Nice job with the air conditioning, whoever. But you know what the press will say? You know what they'll say? Trump didn't look well. He was extremely wet. It's 104 or 5 degrees in this room. But we're okay with it, right?
There's the prediction. We've got some fantastic guests coming up on the show today. Faz Shakir. You might not know about Faz Shakir because you've not been paying attention to the mainstream. He was one of the people that advised Bernie Sanders in his 2020 campaign. Now, what I want to ask him about is, will the Democrat Party respond to the obvious interest in populist outsiders? And would you describe RFK as a populist outsider, my on-screen assistant and friend Gareth Roy?
Yeah, I would. He's also head of More Perfect Union. Very pro-union, so it'll be very interesting to hear what he's got to say about Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, you will never find, I'll tell you this now, you will never find a more pro-union president than Joe Biden. That's not my words, that's Joe Biden's own words.
Tell that to rail workers.
I will. Get one in here. If they can get to work on time, get me a rail worker in here and I will tell them.
Well, they're not allowed to because they don't have any sick days.
That's a shame. but you've got to be healthy if you're driving a train. You do not, I'll tell you this is why I back Biden. That's why I back Biden 2024. You do not want someone wheezing, coughing, driving a bloody train. You're going to love this story a little bit later as well. Like Joe Biden, do you know about all of his aliases? Did you know about all of this?
I did, yeah.
He's got so many. I know you know because actually it was you that told me. Like he got so many aliases. This guy.
You want to know them?
Hold on, I think I've memorised them. There's JRB Peters.
JRB where?
JR Beware. And that's Beware. It's like there's one. Because guess when he was using these aliases? When he was talking to his son about certain little energy dealings. Am I allowed to say this on YouTube?
I think so.
So when he was dealing with his son's energy business energy interest with Ukraine and China, where Trump said, as a matter of fact, on a live debate, your family's been paid millions. Joe Biden said that's absolutely not true. Do we even have that footage today? We're going to cover that today.
We do.
Well, first of all, let's look. There's so much to tell you. Can you see I'm excited? I mean, we haven't even got into Jordan Peterson.
Sweating as much as Trump.
I am sweating like Trump. But I'll tell you what, one of the reasons he's probably sweating is he's sweating because he don't want to debate the other primary candidates. And do you even care about that? Because Trump ain't debating his primary candidates like Vivek Ramaswamy, guest on the show. Ron DeSantis, guest on the show. Joe Biden, he won't debate his bloody other candidates, will he? Like RFK, guest on the show. Are you seeing a theme developing? In short, if you want to run Merricky, you better come on this show.
Yep.
Isn't it? That's the only way you can be sure of doing it. JP, Jordan Peterson, says that Trump should be debating. We asked you what you thought. Here is his tweet, or X, or whatever you have to call it now. There's no excuse for this. Biden's doing it. Trump's doing it. It's cowardly. Face the people. And then there's him saying Trump's going to talk to Tucker. That's definitely going to get more, what do you want to say, eyeballs?
I guess so.
Eye sockets.
Right.
Skull holes.
Yes.
Irises. Jelly balls.
That's right.
That'll do. Because in a minute I'll start saying weird stuff, won't I?
I guess
body porridge.
Right. Yeah, not that.
No one needs to hear that
doesn't
kind of
come
language.
out of
Doesn't
your
make
eye.
sense. Not out of the... Well...
Oh?
Come on.
Can it?
So, we've got a lot to talk about because I tell you what, the mainstream media has taken one hell of a beating. Even the presidential primary debates are going to be held not on CNN, not even on Foxy Lady News.
Well, they are on Fox as well.
Also Fox. Yeah. But also, though, and perhaps more significantly, and I'm going to undo my zip a couple of inches for this one.
Oh, my word.
Rumble, but you won't be seeing those guys again. Don't pull to the wide. I see you pull to the wide. These guys, these are the money makers. Them's the money makers.
How do you think we got this deal?
We got Because itchy and scratchy.
He's prostituted himself.
I went up there, all over Canada and Florida, to get Ernest and Honest Bob off Chris Pavlovsky and the guys over there at Rumble HQ.
And you're not grateful, are you? Not one bit.
How about you just say thank you?
He had to do that in every meeting.
To Vivek and DeSantis. This is my rapping booby. I'm like a head trip to listen to because I'm only lactating when I need to. And then this one, bit more statesmanly, but you know, it doesn't seem to be going well in the old polls.
Like a member of the royal family, that one, isn't it?
A lovely, droopy old, soppy old royal, silly old, taking the state money for very little. So you can watch the presidential primary debates will be streamed on Rumble this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Should we do a watch-along, Gal? We've seen like eating popcorn now.
Yeah, like it's the footy.
Like it's the football itself.
Oh,
yeah, a little watch-along. Surely your fans of football is nice. One of the best podcasts. Remember, you can listen to this as audio. That means you can carry on with your dirty, stinking business. Presumably you've all got deals with Burisma. You could all be doing your jobs for Burisma while simultaneously watching this show or listening to it down your ear holes. Okay, let's have a look at whether or not... Now, we saw Trump predict that he would be condemned for perspiring that way. And sure enough, he was. This is MSNBC talking about Trump's bodily functions.
There's new reporting this morning on a secret memo. No.
I mean, I'm sweating. No, I'm just saying I'm sweating that much. Do you think he's...
In a million different ways, healthy? I don't think he's well.
You think he's unhealthy? You just don't... I mean, Marco Rubio didn't sweat that much.
Correct.
Ron DeSantis doesn't sweat that much.
Anyhow.
That was a lot of sweat.
Ugh. Don't talk about the amounts of people sweat. I suppose when Trump continually preempts and predicts things that will happen on the mainstream, or is able to declare publicly that Hunter Biden's business dealings are shady, or at least lead to millions of dollars in revenue, they've not been proven to be shady yet. Perhaps because the person that's investigating them is pal of Moderna, David Weiss. Let's have a look at that's true. That's what David Weiss was doing before he was investigating. Let's call it investigating Hunter Biden. He was... exculpating Moderna. Now, some people, we had a little vote. Should Trump be made to debate? 38% of you said he should be made to. How would you do that, though? 19% say don't make him. And 42% of you, you mad giddy nihilists, say it doesn't matter anyway, you wild children of the Lord. Hey, if you're watching this on Rumble right now, why don't you press the red button and join us over on Locals? It's a fantastic place to watch. There's a beautiful community in there, like Blessed Old Bird and Jim Earth, C137, chatting away. Purple Revolution says, I deeply respect Jordan Peterson on many things, but he does not seem to be able to wrap his mind around the 100-year moment we're in with Trump the Destroyer. What do you think? Why don't you get involved in that conversation? And I would suggest in a loving way, because free speech is being attacked, curtailed and closed down in myriad new ways, whether it's the WHO's rules there over on YouTube. Their community guidelines will be expanded to include all medical matters. And if you're one of our 6.5 million awakening wonders over there, in order to maintain free speech, after just a few more minutes, we're going to slink off into Rumble, the shadowy world where free speech flourishes, where it grows abundantly, like them hanging gardens of Babylon, baby, tumbling down honeysuckles of truth. When you have a look at this bit of, well, let's call it broadcasting from CNN, it sort of elides almost effortlessly into what me and Gareth here think is insidious hypnotism. They start reporting on Trump being right about Hunter's business dealings in the 2020 presidential debates with Biden. Yep. Look at this. Now, look, if you were trying to indict Donald Trump right now, this would be some very unhelpful footage, because you see on camera, it looks to me like Donald Trump telling the truth and Joe Biden lying. Look at how the mainstream media cover this. It's fascinating.
Glenn Kessler from the Washington Post had a fact check about Joe Biden from earlier this month, noting that Hunter Biden admitted in court in July that he was in fact paid substantial sums from Chinese companies. Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China.
Once you none of that is true. He made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
that is simply
and various
not
other places.
True.
So it's from
no, Good, is it? Simply not true is the claim made by Biden, and yet it is true. It's interesting to see how CNN mitigate this, but what are you saying, mate?
Yeah, no, we've got 9 seconds left for this. There's a longer clip that we'll probably need to get to fully make your point.
Really? Let's get the full clip, guys. How did that transition take place? You get it in there. Young Putin is the one. Show gallery cam, not clam, Jesus, that's disgusting. Show gallery cam, because young Putin's in there. Young Putin, I want you to face the camera and apologise, because you are responsible. And also, future you should apologise for your needless invasion of Ukraine. That's the very least you can do, although, let's face it, NATO did meddle in that 2014 coup. But we'll get to the bottom of that, as long as the YouTube guidelines don't prevent it from happening. Let's have a look at how CNN begin to tackle this and sort of, in a sense, what do I want to say? Like, mitigate and provide contingency.
Well, it's all using the phrase blind spot, isn't it?
Oh, that's lovely, that stuff.
Two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong. Glenn Kessler from the Washington.
Okay. Whoa, hello. Did you see that? We need to start playing the titles again, which will be trouble on YouTube, because Tricky, the great British, Bristol-born genius that wrote those lyrics and that entire song that's our theme tune, we're not allowed to play that on YouTube.
No.
Every time I hear it, I get a little bit angry.
Well, it's medical misinformation.
That is medical misinformation. A lot of things he says in there. He makes all sorts of claims about a particular 4-syllable drug that could fend off the naughty famous cough with barely any effort. Hey, listen to this. So Joe Biden, one of the ways he's handling his peculiar business arrangements with his little lad is by having a multitude of pseudonyms. Now, I will say, as a famous person, there are any number of reasons a person might have a pseudonym. You might use a pseudonym, for example, to mask your involvement in some illegal activity. That's it. Yeah, there are no other reasons. No. That is the sole reason. VP Joe Biden used pseudonym Robert L. Peters in emails to Hunter about Ukraine business. But that is not the only pseudonym he used. Some of the others are really stupid. Robert Peters, Robin Ware, and my favourite, J.R.B. Ware. It's me, J.R.B. Ware. You better give my kid a job, or otherwise my name's not J.R.B. Ware. Your name's not J.R.B. Ware. I mean, he can't remember his own actual name. How's he remembering this string of aliases? He's got more aliases than Ethan Hunt, but it's a mission impossible for him just to remember which direction to walk off stage. Now, that's a joke, baby, in anyone's language.
How does he come up with that? It sounds like a building suppliers or something, doesn't it?
J.R.B. Ware, do you need gas from Ukraine? You better believe we need gas from Ukraine. Then my boy's the fella to provide it. He knows how to work a pipe. I'll tell you that now, and for nothing. Listen, we can't stay on YouTube with this kind of free speech, can we?
Surely not.
Speaking freely in this manner, don't be daft. It's not possible. We've got to talk about Moderna making that $400 million payment to the NIH. We've got to talk about, in our country, the UK, this fella, former British medical officer who goes by the name of Jonathan Van Damme, whose name is too similar to both Jean-Claude Van Damme and Jonathan Van Ness out of Queer Eye. You've got to have a name that's a bit more unique and a bit less confusing. But old Van Damme, Chief Medical Officer, part of his job during the pandemic was recommending that we all take Moderna vaccines. Guess where he's gone to work now? By some extraordinary giddy little coincidence, he's gone to work at Moderna, where he also worked before he took on that role with the government. But the idea that involves some sort of corruption or a revolving door would make you and everyone you love a conspiracy theorist. We're going to get into that story with a little more depth. If you're watching us on YouTube, remember, we've got Faz Shakir coming on, and I'm going to be asking Faz about how he feels about a Democrat Party that shuts down populist and even popular candidates like Bernie Sanders. We know for a fact that the Democrats would rather have lost to Trump than won with Bernie. They push legacy career politicians, and it seems now that these career politicians, if you look around them, they've got all sorts of aliases, they've got dodgy funds, there's Russiagate scandals, not Russellgate scandals. That's one thing we can allegedly. Just going to give that a little allegedly, baby. We're going to leave you now. If you're watching on YouTube, click the link in the description. Join us over in the home of free speech. As mainstream media declines, we grow stronger. Join us there for the conversation.